Hi friends, this is everything that I have crocheted / knitted in the year of 2025. I did want to say that this was my first ever year going into fiber art. Prior to this year, I have never crocheted or knitted in my entire life, but ever since I've learned, this is everything that I have made. You'll notice that in the first half of the year, I spent all of my time crocheting, but in the second half of the year, I spent my time knitting. So let's go through each of the pieces. For my first project, I was very ambitious and I crocheted this off-the-shoulder sweater. I will say that the entire reason why I got into crochet / knitting is because I wanted to create my own knitwear. Before I got into crocheting, I was really big on sewing my clothes, but I feel like when it comes to sewing, there's so many materials and steps involved. But with crocheting and knitting, you just need your needles and your yarn and you're good to go. So I saw this YouTube tutorial and it was a great beginner-friendly video. It started in January, and let me just say, I have redone this sweater like 10 times. I think I finally arrived to this date like in May. I just kept not liking the silhouette, so I redid it. But after doing it so many times and playing around with different stitches, I started to realize that crochet makes really thick fabric and it's not really great for breathable wearable items. But nonetheless, I love the sweater and I'm very proud of it being my first ever project. And then I was scrolling through the YouTube creators videos and I wanted to look at some other tutorials that she had posted, and I really liked this balaclava hood accessory that she had posted, and I thought this would be perfect for my Asia trip. I also made this hood beginning of January, and this was literally perfect for my Asia trip. When I was walking around Asia, specifically Korea, I saw this headpiece like literally everywhere. In every store they were selling this hood, but also Asia, specifically Korea, was so cold, so this was also just another great winter accessory. I did also want to mention that all of the pieces are made out of either acrylic or cotton, and so this one uses both. The gray yarn is made out of acrylic yarn and the white border is made out of cotton yarn. When I first got into crocheting, I was like, wow, yarn is so cheap, and I was like, why would I ever buy a sweater when I can just make one myself? And it's really fun. But then as I kept crocheting and knitting, I realized that yarn is actually really expensive once you get into the good quality yarn. For example, merino wool, mohair, alpaca wool. But nonetheless, despite it being made out of acrylic yarn, it's actually really soft and it's holding up pretty well. So I love this hood. I think with crochet, it looks really good for accessories. Maybe not so much for clothing items, but things like this, they're perfect. And then I made another balaclava / ski mask, and I followed this YouTube tutorial. This is also made out of acrylic yarn, but this colorway is so beautiful. When I saw it at Joann, I knew I had to pick it up. I actually made two of these. I made one for myself and one for my boyfriend, and we wore it together in Spain, and it was actually so much fun. I will say, because it like covers my nose, all the little fibers I feel like are going into my nose, but I still think it's really cute. And this is when I started to watch Bellina's videos, and I really love everything she makes, and I think she makes crochet pieces look so incredible. After I made that hood, I was still really scared to go into knitting. If you start off with crocheting, I feel like transitioning into knitting is really difficult because you're not using one needle, you're using two, and just like the way you knit your stitches is like so much more difficult than crocheting. So despite me wanting to try knitting, I made another crochet piece. But I will say, I feel like this is when crochet shorts were really trending and I wanted to make one myself. So I made these shorts. They are not my favorite shorts, and I have undid this a bajillion times because for some reason I just could not get it down. First of all, I did not want it to be see-through, so I was playing with so many stitches. I think half double crochet ended up working well. But again, the thing with crocheting clothing pieces is that the fabric, the material just ends up becoming too bulky and structured, and I was looking more for a drapey short. Also, all of of the tutorials I had seen online are basically for low-waisted booty shorts, but I just wanted like comfortable loungewear that are like not super booty shorts and also that weren't really low rise. I wanted like a mid-rise look. I tried increasing it as I kept crocheting, but then it just ended up like sagging and looking weird. So then I unraveled it and made it tighter, but then it started to look like spandex. But then I thought that if I blocked it, it would become drapey. And so I did block it and it did get bigger, but it wasn't really the look that I was going for. But in the end, I just gave up and stuck with it. So during this time, I was actually trying to learn how to knit, but I just could not get it down. And so I gave up and made this crochet tank top. When I was scrolling through TikTok and Instagram, I actually came across this picture. There wasn't a tutorial or a pattern released yet. So I was like, I need to ask ChatGPT how she made it and make one myself. And the reason why I really liked this crochet top is because it did not look like crochet. The stitching that she used looked like knitwear. And so I don't know if this is what she used, but I think I used something called a moss stitch and it looks really nice. I actually do really like this stitch, but again, with crocheting, it just makes your pieces really thick. And I feel like if you're wearing a tank top, you want it to be light and breezy. I don't know, but I still really like how it looks. This was the first top where I experimented with fiber art on my own and didn't really go off of like a tutorial. This is like really weird. I was trying to recreate this like mesh tank top dress and I thought it was gonna be really easy to make, but as I was crocheting, I realized it was actually not that simple. But the other day I was playing around with it and I was like, wait, let me come forward for this. I was like, this would be so cute as a headband. Like, is that not cute? I feel like this is so cute. And imagine I add like little charms on here. I could totally wear this to like a festival. I just need to tighten the end. Maybe my imagination's going out of hand, but I think that would be so cute. Or I've also been seeing a lot of people make like mesh wrap skirts where they put it over their jeans, and I think that's also really cute. I would just add on to this to make it a little bit longer, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And now finally we are getting into knitwear. I followed this YouTube tutorial which was so great as a beginner. I think this video really helped me understand how to knit, and I made this tank top. The armholes are really small, so no matter how much I try to block it and like try to make it bigger, the yarn itself is fixed, so you can't increase it. I mean, it's not like that tight, but I just wish I made it a little bit bigger. I have yet to add like buttons or string at the front so I can tie it up and close it. So as of right now, it's just like an open vest. And looking at the stitches, they're actually all pretty even, which I'm very proud of. And this was also made with acrylic yarn, but guys, I'm so surprised. I feel like the acrylic yarn that I've like been picking, they're really soft, but great beginner project. And it was really nice to learn like how to increase, decrease without being too overwhelmed. And then the last piece that I have with me today is this Sophie scarf, Sophie shawl, Betty scarf by Milotte. I don't know, but this is my favorite piece that I have ever made this year and I'm really proud of it. I have no complaints. It's made out of cotton yarn, so it feels really nice and does not feel like it's gonna pill anytime soon. So let me tell you guys how I ended up creating this piece that I have with me here today. Initially, I didn't want to make a Sophie scarf because I thought it was too thin, but I liked the Sophie shawl pattern, but I thought it was too long. What I ended up doing is I increased every 4 rows instead of 6, and I wanted it to look like a triangular scarf. Looking at it now, I should have just followed a triangular scarf, but I just wanted like a shorter, wider Sophie shawl. Once I was done and I looked at my scarf, I was like, wait, because I used white cotton yarn, it looked like I was just draping a towel over my neck. So then I was like, how can I make my scarf not look like a towel? And then when I was scrolling through TikTok, I came across a Betty scarf and I was like, I love the lace and ruffle trim and I wanted to add it to my scarf. I was really scared that the ruffle wouldn't lay as nice because it is cotton yarn, so it's stiffer compared to, I believe she used mohair, but it ended up working out just fine and I love how it looks. I feel like it looks so dainty and classy, and I actually wear this a lot in Seattle. There are also some other pieces that I made this year that I do not have with me right now. The first item that I have made is a black poncho. That one was actually a knit piece that I had made after making the white vest, and I actually wear it and love it so much that I have it in Seattle, so I don't have it with me right now. I think it's just great to throw on like during the summer days. I also made a crochet shirt and I learned a lot through making that shirt. I again unraveled and redid it so many times. I have just come to terms with the fact that it's just too thick, doesn't drape. That was a gift for my mom, but I definitely want to make it again, but through knitting, not through crochet. But I will say it was a great fun project. I made most of that shirt when I was in Boston/New York, so I do have a lot of memories associated to that shirt. And the last item that I made were 2 sweaters, and they were both for my friends. I followed this YouTube tutorial, and again, I was in my Biobelina YouTube era, and I was watching every one of her videos, and I really liked this pattern. I will say I wish I did make the sweater just a little bit longer. It's very cropped, but I didn't have enough yarn, so I couldn't make it longer. But I think that sweater was really nice for like a beachy throw over sweater. But yes, that was everything that I had made in 2025, and I'm so excited to head into 2026. There's so many patterns and sweaters and just so many things that I want to knit up. As of right now, I'm not really in my crochet phase anymore. I'm transitioning into more knitwear. Yeah, there's just so many sweaters that I want to learn how to make, other scarves, experiment with lace a little bit. I do want to get into filet crochet. I think that's the only type of crochet that I will be dabbling with in 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know which one was your favorite or what your plans are for 2026, and I'll see you guys in my next video.